Oh yeah, no.
Got the one leg deadlift here. So we usually start out with a 45-pound bar. If this feels heavy or having trouble with it, you could actually grab some dumbbells and probably grab maybe some 10 or 15-pound dumbbells in each hand. The bar is good just because you can get a better sense of the tightness or tightening of all the back muscles than you would usually with the dumbbells. So you're just going to be here on one leg. Again, we want to tighten the glutes and the hamstring to support the knee. At the top, we're going to pull the shoulders back, push the chest out, tighten the back, and we're going to bend forward all through the hip. The knee is just slightly bent from the start, and the whole movement's at the hip. Once you get to the knee, you're then going to push your hip backwards. You can go all the way to really your ribs touch your thigh, and then stand up out of the exercise. So really we want to actually stay on that one leg through all the reps of each set here. So if you look from the side, we'll be standing up nice and tall, knee just as soft, slightly bent, moving forward at the hips. I let the back leg go back just to kind of get out of the way and counterbalance, and then move through the hip. Hip kind of sinks down and back, and then stand up nice and tall. Very important to stand up all the way and extend the hip as we come out of the exercise. So, all right, the one-arm cable row is just the opposite of the cable push here. Again, we're in that split stance. Again, knee is over the heel, shoulders over the hips. A tendency that people want to do is to have kind of stand up out of it and have their knee behind their heel. What that does is actually takes a lot of tension away from the legs. We want the legs to have to stabilize themselves. So get nice and low in that lunge. Hold the knuckles straight up. And from here, we're just actually turning the thumb upward and rowing the way back. Again, we're only moving really at the arm and then squeezing your shoulder blade toward your spine. So we do a lot of chin-ups here, but we do different things to kind of help people maybe progress them a little bit different. So this is one way we can kind of build some strength before we get you into some chin-ups. With it, we're just going to, all these machines kind of a pad, you're going to bring your knees under. So just adjust the pad beforehand. We're just going to get a grip just a little bit outside your shoulders. Sit down into it. The key here is the pulleys are always at different angles here. So this one, if I went all the way into the seat like you have to on some, now that this machine's made so I'd have to pull it behind my head. We actually want to pull in front. So you just kind of have to have it so the pulley above you is in front of your chin, so then you can pull down in front. If you look at my forearms, when I pull them down, they're fairly vertical, perpendicular to the ground. We don't want to actually see the elbows go back. So you just pull the elbows into the rib. And we keep the shoulders over the hips. So what people tend to do, I didn't want to show it on the video, but people copy.
Do a close-up on this.
The band squats, we use these kind of thick bands here, but you could actually use, a lot of times people have bands with handles on them. You could actually just tie them, or you could go out and buy a band. They're good for stretching too, but this is a good exercise to kind of work the outside of the hips for injury prevention of the knees. If you have a long band like this, what we do is we just kind of fold it over, and kind of shorten it up a little bit. We just put that right above the knees, and we just bring the legs far enough out so we get tension on the band. And then just turn your toes out a little bit. We want to keep a good upright posture as we do this, but our main goal is to really stretch the band as we sink into the squat. So we just want to keep that tension on the band, or actually lengthen it as we squat. And the tempo, I think we got 5 seconds down and 3 seconds up.
Do it from the side.
All right, so front plank, really you're just on your forearms. We want the shoulders over the elbows, or you can move them slightly back. We want your body so you're right on your toes. So we don't want to lean back and put the weight into the legs. You want to go up on the toes, have your butt about as high as your shoulder blades, and we're just trying to keep a nice solid position for the specified time. Side plank, same thing. We're going to have the elbow underneath the shoulder. We actually want to kind of lift the feet up off the ground, so your ankle bone is off the ground, and then really kind of tent the hip up. So we'll get it a little bit higher. Your body won't be perfectly straight from shoulder to ankle. We like the hand on the hip, just because it keeps the body straight, as opposed to putting it down on the floor. So keep everything nice and straight as we go through the exercise. Wise T's, W's, and L's here. We just use 2.5 pound plates. You can use 2.5 pound dumbbells if you want. Important, as we get into the position, we want to have the feet right underneath your shoulders. Anytime we bend forward at the hips, we want kind of a smaller stance right underneath your shoulders. So from here, we tighten up the back, slight bend in the knees, and then bend forward at the hips. Y's, where you just got the thumbs up, arms straight, and you're just coming up in front. T's, we turn our hands out. Thumbs will be up, trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together. If you want, you can switch what weight is in front, halfway through the reps. W's, we want to have the elbows right underneath the chin, and we're just going to rotate the elbows up high. So you should feel this more in the rear delt or the back of the shoulder, as opposed to between the shoulder blades. And then L's are like an external rotator cuff. So as you go through the exercise, just make sure you stay in that same bent position.
You're on.
So a back squat, now we just have the bar on our back. It's really the same technique. The one thing you want to do is when you get underneath the bar, you want to squeeze your shoulder blades back together. This creates a little ledge for the bar to sit on. So it sits on your traps, but really on the ledge that you create by pulling your shoulder blades together. We're going to get that wide stance just outside your shoulders. Rotate the feet out slightly, keep the chest up, facing forward, and then sink down through the hips. Mistake that a lot of people make, because the weight's on their back, they don't look at their foot position. And a lot of times their feet will actually be staggered. So when one foot's further forward than the other, you'll actually rotate as you go into the squat. So just like the back squat, we just kind of squeeze the shoulder blades together to make that little ledge to hold the bar. In any kind of lunge, as we descend in the lunge, we want to have all our weight through the heel, and then the shoulders over the hips. So we take a long stride forward. I like to pause a second and then slowly drop down into it. As we come out of the lunge, I want to push off and flick the ankle. That little ankle flick will kind of build momentum to get all the way back up into standing. So that's our forward lunge. We have 3 lunges in this. We have an ankle lunge, so we lunge out to the side. The front heel will be just in front of my back toe. We'll rotate the hip and sink down, flick in the ankle to get back up to the top. Through the ankle lunge, we want to keep the bar facing forward. So the lower body rotates, the upper body faces forward. The side lunge, we want to keep both feet flat, sink down, push the butt back, and then flick the ankle to get that triple extension of the hip, knee, and ankle. twist here. We got the same position as the cable push that we did previously. The knee will be right over the heel. The shoulders will be back over the hips. This time we're going to bring the opposite arm out, and we're going to let your upper body rotate a little bit. So the lower body stays in the same position, and we push the arm out and pull the elbow back. It's important to have the arm not pushing the weight up in the same plane as the arm, moving the weight so that we rotate the thoracic spine as we go through this exercise. So the bent row is really all about keeping your back position through the exercise. Because as the weight gets heavier, as you fatigue, a lot of people want to stand up out of the bent position. What I do, you have the smooth and the kind of gnarly part of the bar. I just have my feet or my hands just outside that smooth portion. So your hands will be outside your hips. We're going to stand up nice and tall. The knees will be a little bit soft, just slightly bent. Keep the chest out, tailbone back, so we keep a lot of tension in the back. All the weight will be through the muscles of the back. We bring the bar all the way to your kneecaps. And we keep the bar close to your body by pulling it back to your legs. And we pull the bar up, right underneath the chest, touching the ribs. We want to pull the elbows back, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. Really should just be the arms and shoulder blades moving. The back should stay in the same position. So the matrix reaches, they're really a balance exercise here. And so what we're going to do is stand on one leg throughout the whole time, and we're going to actually do 3 different movements here. Just like any one-legged exercise, we want to stand up as tall as we can through the exercise so the hip extends. We want to keep the knee steady right over the toes. So your knee might move slightly, it's just your ability to make those small adjustments to keep it steady and tracking right over your foot. So be on one leg. If I'm on my left leg, I might start out by reaching my right arm across my body. I'm going to bend at both the knee and the hip, and I'm going to touch behind my heel and stand up. And then I'm going to, keeping my weight on my heel of my foot, reach as far forward as I can, just a light touch on the ground, and then up. So you don't want to put any weight through your hands. And now we're going to open up your hips. Rotate through the hip, and then reach behind your heel, and stand up. So that would be 1 rep. So we will perform between 3 and 4 reps per leg before we switch to the next one. So most of the time this side bend machine doesn't actually look like this, or a side bend bench. A lot of times it's like an angled pad, and at the very bottom you have a place to put your feet, and there's like a little lip that just kind of catches the edge of your foot so you don't fall over. And you just be performing the exercise on an angle. This is a glute hand machine, actually made to do something a little different, but we can do the same thing. Actually, it'll be a little bit harder to do the exercise on this, just because you'll be laying straight out as opposed to on an angle. But you can always actually add weight, hold a small weight on the other one. So you're going to be out on an angle here. So we're just going down slowly, getting the full range of motion, and then coming up. If we can leave the legs straight, it's going to make us use the side a little bit more. As we do this, the progression really, you can do body weight with your hands like this. You can move your hands up to your head. You could hold a stick over your head or a towel, which would make it harder. Or you could hold a weight